Hi, this is Judy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about, I'm actually going to be talking about one person, but representative of many people. And I mean, maybe I'll do another video on heroes. But today I'm going to be talking about Martin Luther King Jr. Just a little bit. You could talk about him for about, 3 weeks, but I just have a point to make. Before I get started, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and maybe that little notification bell, I really would appreciate it. So, I suppose there are a lot of heroes. And like I said, maybe that's a really good subject for another video. Martin Luther King Jr. was a really incredible human being. He was born at a time when black people were very much oppressed, even more than they are today in some very unique ways. People did not see black people as the same. Not everybody. I was fortunate. I grew up in a house where my father's best friend was a black man named George. And my mother's best friend she worked at the hospital with, was a black lady too. So, they never had anything bad to say about black people. They never were. I was not raised in a house that had any prejudice. And if my parents did anything right, that was the one thing that they did right. There were other things they didn't do very right, but that one thing molded my vision of what people are or what they're not, And I just have a lot of very good memories of diversity as far as it went in the little town that I grew up in. So, there were a lot of political, religious leaders. There have been many of them over the years, even in modern times. Martin Luther King Jr., though, had a calling to more than just his faith, which was Christian, but he was also called to make right a few wrongs. And, when I grew up, when I was a little girl and I grew up, until I was born in 1955. So for 10 years of my life, the laws in the United States allowed black people to vote, but they didn't make it easy. There were things that were done to stop black people from voting because the lawmakers were old white guys who thought they were better. Bottom line, And in 1965, President Johnson, with help and inspiration from Dr. King, signed into the Voting Act of 1965 and made it much easier now for black people to have a voice, which they well deserve. Now, there's been a lot of stuff go on, in Black Lives Matter. A lot of things have gone on, and some people right there with everybody who's trying to make sure everything is equal and that people are treated with respect and all that. And then there's some people like, oh, they're making a big deal out of nothing. Well, it's not nothing if it's you. It happens to them, then it's okay, but not to me, So just, that's the thing I think I find in Martin Luther King's story is, and it's a movie's worth of information, but basically he was a man who had a vision, a dream of unity. And it wasn't just a dream, and this is the one thing people don't get sometimes if they haven't really looked into it. It was not just a dream of black people coming into their own and being treated properly. It was a dream of all people being treated equally. Black, white, yellow, red, brown, doesn't matter. He wasn't just saying black people need to do this. Naturally, black people in this country at that time, I mean, there were people being killed for no reason just because they were black. And there's people that today would say that's still happening. And I'm not going to argue with them. Martin Luther King believed that peaceful protests showed them what you're really made of. Character, respect. The qualities that he saw in people, that he wanted to shine on, were the qualities that all of us have, or hopefully have, you know, a respect for each other, fairness. We all have families and children we care for. We all just want to have a decent life where we have an opportunity to make our lives better for our children and for their children. And there were groups of people. There still are groups of people. And sometimes, you know, in history we can look back and we can say, well, you know, this group of people, look after the coronavirus started from China. People were attacking Asians as if they had anything to do with that. People were walking down the street and got knocked over, hurt, because they were Asian. They might not have even been Chinese. They could have been Vietnamese. They could have been Polynesian. They didn't. This world is full of people who are donkey holes. You know what I mean? Donkey holes. I'll have to use that another time. Anyway. Anyway, I admire Dr. Martin Luther King because he didn't want people rioting. He didn't want people setting fire to things. He wanted peaceful protests to show who you are. And unfortunately, sometimes today, the frustration builds so much that really not positive things happen. And I'm sure that Dr. King would just be like, oh no, please don't do that. Because he wanted people to show themselves in the best light so that they could be judged for who they really are, not for who somebody thinks they are or where they belong or whatever bigotry is out there. I always think that the golden rule, which is in so many religious scripts in different ways, that you treat other people the way you want to be treated. And doesn't matter if they're doing that for you. You know what I'm saying? I could be treated like crap, but I show my character when I don't do that same thing back or to somebody else. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It's easy to say. Sometimes it's hard to do. But I think we should. And I think Dr. King, in many ways, he'd be proud of some of the things that have happened since he was killed. And I think in many ways he would be very disappointed. We have the opportunity as people, soul. Believe me, I've been black. We've all been other races, from my way of thinking. There's no difference between us. We've had different experiences, but that's why we're here. We have karma with people. We got to find that balance. The color of your skin, the clothes you wear, the house you live in, those things don't make you better or worse. It has nothing to do with that. The sooner we figure that out, that we all have a worldwide vision, so idealistic, isn't it? It's a nice thought. It'll come. Maybe not for a few 100,000 years. I don't know how long it'll take, but I believe it will come. So, the spiritual side of this mainly is just to recognize that no matter what, we are all one thing. We are all connected. We are all the same. There is no difference in soul at all. And if we experience prejudice and cruelty, yes, they are experiences. But we can also turn that around. Remember, the things that are given to us to experience, we don't have to go, okay, well, that's an experience, I have to have it. You can also turn it around into something positive and make it and you and anybody around you move forward. Instead of just kind of treading water, hoping someday the pool drains out so you can walk. You don't want the pool to drain out. You don't. So, behind this video, or right beneath it, the next video to come up will be a song called One Vision. One Vision is very clever. It's a wonderful song. The video is a lot of fun to watch. But if you listen to the words, they were written in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. And so I thought, why not? It's a good song to play after this little talk. Okay, One Vision about Martin Luther King Jr. and my gift to you. I hope you enjoy it.